So today we're going to be doing Sun in the 11th house. Oh my god, I don't have any friends. I want some friends. Can you guys get me some friends? Actually, no, every time I get friends, I burn them. So today we're going to be, as I said, we're going to be doing Sun in the 11th house. So what does Sun represents? What does 11th house represents? Well, Sun is your ego. Sun is your self-esteem. Sun represents your father. Sun represents fatherly figure. Sun represents government jobs. Okay, Sun represents creativity. Sun represents male colleagues, male friends. Okay, even though Mars represents that, Sun is also representing that, especially in this case. What is 11th house? 11th house is the most important house when it comes to wealth, because how is wealth attained? Well, in one way, wealth is attained through inheritance, through family savings and families, property and values. But most of the time, wealth is earned through earnings, meaning like whatever you do gains through those things. Okay, so 11th house represents gains of money. 11th house represents your network, your professional network circle, including your friends. That could be in a network of circle. Because in order to gain money, most of the time you have to network, even as a business person. You know, you have to know this person, that person, who can connect you with another person or another person, and this way you can get the best deal on your product so you can sell it for 100 times more and make a profit. Pretty much what the world is doing right now, especially our Congress in the United States. So when Sun comes in this house, first of all, Sun is not comfortable in this house. Why? Because this is the original house of Saturn. Okay, this is where Saturn actually, and this is not only is the house of Saturn, but this is the Mula Karka sign for Saturn, because 11th house is originally ruled by Aquarius zodiac sign, okay, which is all about networking. So when Sun comes in here, Saturn doesn't like it. Why? Because Saturn hates Sun. In all the mythological stories, Saturn just doesn't like Sun. You know, if there was a rocket launcher beside Saturn and Sun was poor, already dead, just dying, you know, Shani, meaning Saturn, would take that rocket launcher, launch it at Sun, because he just wants to finish him off as soon as possible. And so in 10th house, Sun is good because it's a house of authority where Sun, the king, shines. But now the king comes among the common people, among the common folks, and the king is forced to network with people in order to gain any success. And second, Saturn does not want Sun in his house where Saturn considers himself strong. So what happens is Sun is a very hot and dry planet, and wherever Sun sits, it lights up everything, it brightens everything where you just can't see anything. So usually if people think that Sun being in the 11th house will give them a lot of network sources, a lot of friends, that it's actually kind of the opposite. It dries up your friend circle. It burns your network circle. However, because Sun is bright, they know exactly where everybody is. They know exactly where all the resources are. However, they just cannot get along with doing business with their network, because Sun, the ego, feels that it deserves it all. Okay, and Sun, the ego, wants to be the center of attention. But when you are among common folks, when you are among thousands and thousands of people out there in the crowd, like the 7th house, the Sun feels lost. It doesn't know if it's the center of attention. It doesn't know if it's the center of all the important things that are happening, because networking doesn't work one way. It works both ways. So if I do something for this person and gets him gets him in touch with somebody, and he gets $1 million deal, when I need help, I'm gonna contact him because I know he kind of owes me something. Where Sun feels, I don't owe you anything. You know, you did this for me because I'm the king. So usually and plus what happens is Sun doesn't really want too many network friends here, because it feels like it needs to make a decision on its own about how to gain money, how to gain wealth, and what kind of friends they want to be with. You know, usually they will be they just do not like being around people as much. They don't consider everybody their friend. So that's what happens in this house. Also, when you have sun in the 11th house, most likely, most of the time, in my case, I think literally 4 out of 4, you are the eldest sibling. You're the eldest child of the parents. Why? Because sun is hot and what? Hot and dry. And what does it do? 11th house represents your elder siblings. It burns it up. So when sun comes there, usually that is the first child. It's like a given. You know, it's not like your elder brother is going to die or something. That doesn't happen, you know. But most of the time, they're just born as the first child, especially in case of women. You know, if they have sun in the 11th house, they're the eldest child. And the relationship with the eldest sibling, if there is, will be damaged. Like, so it'll be like, oh, I don't have any older sibling because you always were in the battle. Because sun, that's what sun does, okay? Sun in the 11th house, however, is good to be recognized. So when sun is bright, and it's among the common people like the 7th house, people notice him. People get attracted to this light. But this light repels them. That's what happens. So even though they're being recognized, they just want to recognize, they do not want to recognize anybody else and their opinion. They believe their opinion is the only one that counts, and their philosophy is the only one that counts when it comes to either doing business, making friends, making network, how the money should be made. Now you must be thinking, what about gains? Will I have gains because sun is in the 11th house? Of course, it can give gains. It does give gains, especially in its dasha. Sun gives gains. However, you got to remember one thing, one unique thing. You really do not want sun to be excelled or in its own sign in this house, because that's where, you know, things with father will go haywire. You know, things with authority will go haywire. Sun, if sun wants to survive in the 11th house and do well, it better be in Saturn, especially Saturn's house. So if sun is in the 11th house in Capricorn, Aquarius, sun will be a lot better off. Why? Because Saturn knows that sun is sitting in his own house. Okay? And this is not the house itself, but the zodiac sign in that house. So Saturn will know, oh, the sun is here in my house in Aquarius, or he's in Capricorn. So Saturn will be bitter, but it will not shoot the rocket launcher at the sun because he will damage his own house. So it's better when sun is in its own, when in Saturn sign, than its own sign or an excelled sign. Because if it's an excelled sign in the 11th house, Saturn will be like, I don't think so. You know, especially when it aspects sun in the 11th house. And if sun is excelled or in its mula, Karka, meaning its own sign of Leo, it's going to get damaged. Sun does well in Saturn signs. Sun actually does very bad in friendly signs, which are kind of like Cancer, Scorpio, you know, Sagittarius, Pisces. Usually I've also seen that when women, especially have sun in the 11th house, their relationship with their father's brother becomes really bitter at one stage of their life, but it gets better towards the end. Now, sun from the 11th house aspects the 5th house of children, creativity, and education. And this can actually hurt your children's education. It may make you feel like, oh my God, my children are worthless, because sun is dry and hot and is throwing its hot and dry side on the 5th house. So you may get, let's say, male children after a struggle. You may get children after kind of a struggle, but then you may feel like if sun is badly placed, especially debilitated, then you may feel like this enormous embarrassment or stress through your offspring, that my children are worthless, my children are not doing anything, blah, blah, blah. You know how Indian parents sometimes nag, so that's what happens. So guys, this was my analysis on sun in the 11th house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe above, because I'll be going through all the planets, through all the signs and houses, including another series that I might introduce in a week or so. All right. And if you want to know more about astrology, check out my link below. Check out my website there, my articles there on astrology, its secrets, and my book, Astrology at the Speed of Light. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.